Here we're going to look at average versus instantaneous velocity or rates of change. So we want to remember what's the difference from those identical twin problems. They had two different formulas. Average always is going to mean slope. Average rate of change, we're just going to use the slope formula, difference in y's over difference in x's, versus instantaneous change, we're going to use the derivative. So these first couple examples, we are finding the average rate of change of the function x cubed minus 5x on the interval from 2 to 3. It almost feels like this problem shouldn't even be in this class because it's just this fancy way of saying a slope problem. If you're finding average rate of change, we're finding the slope, this function on the interval from 2 to 3. So let's just remind ourselves of the slope formula that we wrote before. So slope in function notation, f of b minus f of a over b minus a. Difference in y's over difference in x's. And for this one, here's our function that we're going to plug into to find the y values. And this interval from 2 to 3 is our a to b. So for this slope, we're going to do f of b, which is 3, minus f of a, which is 2, over b minus a, which is 3 minus 2. So how do we find f of 3? Well, we can show the side work for this one just so when you go to study for the final, you're not like, how did I get that number? F of 3, it comes just from plugging into the function. What's the y value there? So you're going to do 3 cubed minus 5 times 3. Remember to plug in all of your x values in parentheses to make sure your calculator knows what to do. So 3 cubed is 27 minus 5 times 3. 27 minus 15 is going to be 12 for your y value. And then if we do the side work for f of 2, you're going to do 2 cubed, plugging in for x, minus 5 times 2. Well, 2 cubed is 8, minus 10 is going to be a negative 2. So there's each of their y values. So let's go back to this formula here. We plugged in f of 3, we said it was 12. Minus, we plugged in f of 2, and we said it was a negative 2. Over 3 minus 2 is just 1. Well, we have 12 minus a negative 2. When you subtract a negative, you end up adding them. So 12 plus 2 is going to be 14. Over 1 is just going to be 14. There's your average rate of change. If this had units, I'd put the units with it. It'd be the units with the top over the units with the bottom. It might be like miles per hour or feet per second, something like that, people per year. But this doesn't have any units, so we don't have to put any units on our answer. Okay, you could definitely pause the video and try the next one on your own. I'm going to run through it here. We're going to use the same formula because it says average rate of change. That always means slope. Tangent meant use the derivative. Average change means use the slope. So we want to plug in our a to b. So we're going to do f of 15 for this one, minus f of 3 over 15 minus 3. So you could grab your calculator if you want to. 15 plus 1 is 16, and then we're going to take the square root of it. So the square root of 16 is what we're going to have for this first one, minus plugging in 3. 3 plus 1 is 4, so it would be the square root of 4. Over 15 minus 3 is 12. So what's the square root of 16? That's 4. Minus what's the square root of 4? It's 2 over 12. So 4 minus 2 is going to be 2 over 12 for average rate of change. If you want to reduce that, you could. That'd be 1 over 6. I wouldn't make it a decimal just because it keeps going. But either of these answers are perfectly fine to enter into WebAssign. They usually just don't want you to round decimals unless it says round to the second decimal place, leave it a fraction.